Hermes draw near, and to my prayer incline, in art's gymnastic and in fraud divine.
Dire weapon of the tongue which men revere, be present, Hermes, in thy suppliant here.
Welcome to Third Eye Bind, episode 27, The Business of Witchcraft.
Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Caitlin.
And welcome to Third Eye Bind.
Third Eye Bind.
Third Eye Bind.
Third Eye Blind.
Third Eye Blind?
Third Eye Wind.
Third Eye Grind? The way I look at it. Third Eye Grind?
Anybody? No, I loved it.
Spinoff? Well, you know what? Today's
Third Eye
episode.
Bind After Hours.
No. I meant grind like a hustle.
Oh.
That actually is appropriate because today we are talking about
The grind.
the grind, the business of witchcraft.
Mm-hmm. It's time for witchy business.
Let's talk about my life, basically.
But before we get into the
God.
show, if you like Third Eye Bind, we would love for you to support us by liking this episode, rating our podcast on whatever platform you are listening or watching on, leaving comments on YouTube, sharing it with your friends, sharing it with your family, sharing it with your enemies.
Sharing it with your pastor.
And if you really love us, we invite you to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Third Eye Bind. I just posted another deck review
Sweet.
for the Gentle Tarot, and I'm not going to give too much away because you should watch it.
Great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are a fully independent podcast. Mm-hmm. So these things really do help us out and really do matter. Your vote matters.
Your vote.
For real, though. It really does
It helps.
So, the business of witchcraft.
The business of witchcraft.
If the card you pull is not the Two of Pentacles, I'm going to throw the deck out the fucking window that I designed and created because it's got to be that.
It's the Two of Swords.
Okay, it was a 2.
Oh my God, this is a
What?
drag.
Oh no. Is it a Laura drag?
They're dragging.
Fuck.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
You know what? That makes sense. Though. Like, truly, maybe the 2s across the board.
The 2s across the board,
does that track
because
for
of the
work
bell. Yeah, I could see that.
complications?
Well, okay,
in
so
community?
traditionally in the tarot, the Two of Swords speaks to a moment in time where we must make a decision. We must take action. And in the Smith-Waite deck, the figure is sitting with 2 swords crossed like this in their arms, and they're blindfolded, and they're sitting on a stone bench on a stone ground, but behind them is water, and in the sky is the moon. And though they feel like they need to protect themselves and they can't see what's in front of them, the presence of the water and the moon are the assurance that your intuition and your spirits will guide you well if only you lean into them and trust that. And I think that's interesting for a few different reasons.
Yes.
One, like the truth is with witchy business or with any business, period, you don't know how it's going to turn out.
No.
You don't know what's in front of you. Most of us are figuring this out as we go. And when it comes to showing up in a way that has the potential for truly sustainable success, it's less important what the people around you are doing and more important what your heart, your spirits, your intuition is encouraging you to do. And I also think these lyrics are really fitting because which aesthetic, spiritual spirituality, aesthetic, it's everywhere right now.
Everywhere.
And like, how do you know who to trust? Also, not even from like a consumer standpoint, but from a business owner standpoint, you can start to get really down on yourself when you see other people with like huge followings and you're like, but how are they making this happen? And you just have to trust that, like, you know, there are some clowns around you.
And they're doing clown shit.
And they're doing
to get
clown
where they
shit. And the algorithms tend to favor the people who
Clowns.
are most likely to be clowns. And
people that
that's
share.
okay. Because when you are authentic to yourself, the people that you're stuck in the middle with are people who are also authentic in what they do. Maybe their practice isn't the same as yours, or come from, or maybe their practice isn't the same as yours. Maybe their path isn't the same as yours. But what you do have in common is sincerity and authenticity. And like, those are your people. That's your real community. And that's who I want to be stuck in the middle with.
That's, yes, to all. There's so many things that are just the Two of Swords and the twos. Like, the why I said Two of Pentacles is because it's that, but it's more of like it's like juggling a bunch of shit all at once,
Oh my
right?
God,
The
yes.
Two of Pentacles.
The ebb and flow.
Just okay, I just have so much going on, and like, how do and that for me as a business owner, an independent business owner, a small business owner, is my whole life, is figuring out what's worth my time, what's worth my peace, what can I do to make money, how can I... It's, there's that energy to it. So it makes a lot of sense that a two was pulled, because...
Well, and like, to the point of the Two of Pentacles, that juggling aspect, when you're a small business owner or a small witchy or spiritual business owner, you have to do everything yourself.
For the most part,
You are your own PR company, you're your own social media company, you're your own web designer, email marketing, you know, like, everything is you on top of whatever service or products you are providing to others. And also, I feel like there's that juggling of like, do I have money today? Do I not have money today? Like, you know, like, it's just not consistent.
Especially at first.
Exactly.
And then at first, before you found like your crowd of people that like your shit, you're constantly second guessing what you're doing and wondering if anyone's gonna like you, and you know, it's hard. It's harder now than it was 5 years ago. Absolutely. I will tell you that from experience. Like, it's very hard to get attention nowadays unless you are saying something controversial. That's what I see a lot in, you know, in like, which is it's a tactical move. It's a smart move. If we were here, and we say controversial shit, but not for the sake of being controversial. We're not like,
we're not doing it for the
so-and-so.
outrage.
Like, we're not doing it for the outrage, but there's even, you know, there's others that are even more. It's like, fuck so-and-so. If I was like, fuck Caitlin, like, that would get a lot of attention.
People would be like, what's going on?
Yeah, no, seriously, it's to the point where, you know, commenting on current events, like memes, like, you know, I'm fucking just at a standstill with my Instagram, because there's no growth. There's hardly, and it's sustained. I'm glad for that, but it's just really hard to get people to follow you, to even get people to click like and to interact, because we're all fucking tired.
Yes.
And I think our attention spans are so fucked that even to get, it just is harder to get any sort of other than just this. Even if I do that too, I'm guilty of that too, to where I'll see something like you post, or I mostly like your shit, but like, somebody will post and I'll be like, oh, that's really cool. I won't tell them that. I won't like it. I'll just think it and move on. And that's okay. But you have to understand that as a creator or a business owner, that's the state of mind people are in, and that's the way their brains are working. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's just you or that you suck.
Yes.
You know, it's really, really hard to detach. And I've been doing this for a long time. Like, it's very hard to detach the worth from your self-worth from likes, engagement. I still get real excited when a post of mine or somebody I posted about like the new Oracle deck I'm making, and people really responded well to it. And I was like, oh, good. Like, thank God that didn't just go under the radar, because that's something I care a lot about. So but it's hard to trust your own instincts and what you're creating, because likes and all that shit and comments don't necessarily translate to money, and vice versa, you know? So just because I have like 47,000 followers or whatever doesn't mean that I'm making more money than someone that has like legit. I mean, to me that's not, because to me that's not a lot. Isn't that sad?
I have 4,500 followers.
But like my point, but like seriously, that's not a lot. I'm like, wow, I should have, but I've had that same amount of followers for like 3 years. Like, so to me, that's not, but it is a lot. And it's, you have to remember, like, you have people that care, and that's
Started at zero.
And, but I'm saying like someone with less followers or whatever, maybe making more money than me. Like we can't always equate these things. And that's more like, that's just common, like common things that you can remember to like not beat up on yourself.
Yeah. Follower count doesn't equate to success or lack of it. Something that my, I guess she calls herself an icon oracle now, which is kind of like a business witch or a marketing witch. Captalia Online, thank you, Captalia, taught me is that you need to show up no matter the size of your audience, whether it's 10 people or 100,000 people. Like, show up like you're already successful.
Yeah.
Show up like you already have, you know, that desired audience present, and pour into them no matter how big or small the group is. And the people who need to see it will see it. And I do like that kind of idea that no matter how big or small your audience is, it's big enough for you to start showing up and sharing what's authentic to you that you want to like spread the word about.
Right. And it's like, okay, then we need to define what success even means, because there's like monetary, we all need to eat. We all need to live in this like capitalistic society.
Sure do.
So that's important to me. I'm not going to lie. I'm a businesswoman. Like,
Yeah, I do want to make money.
Yeah. I'm not here to like not play that. That's just me, right? It's my Capricorn Mars or whatever the fuck it is. Like, I have some Capricorn in there. It's like, come on.
Me too. I have a Capricorn stellium.
Let's do this. Ooh, nice. But there's also the success of like, do you feel fulfilled? Especially if you're a spiritual worker or a witch and with a business. Like, the biggest conundrum that I've faced, maybe we should talk about that. Let's talk about our biggest like issues or conundrums that we've faced, because my business is very different from yours. So for me, I'll go first. I volunteered. I volunteered.
Tell us, Laura.
Okay. Well, it's like it's always been, because I design products and fun things for witches to feel comfy with and feel represented with. And so it's not like I don't do readings. I don't give one-on-one, sessions or anything like that. I design the decks. I don't perform the readings for the people. I have tried, and it's actually really funny. But the problem I've come across is that I want to always make sure what I'm doing is not taking away from my personal spiritual practice as a witch, because it is so capitalistic, and it's a business. It's always been about making sure that when I do something or I make something, that it's like authentic to me, and it's not taking away from my personal practice, because there is all of this like juggling. There's all these things, and I could make some shit that would sell a lot of money, but it's not like creatively fulfilling for me. And it's not like representative of like who I am in my practice. So that's been a problem, to where it's like I'm working so hard that I've ignored my self, honestly, and my practice. So constantly checking that has been, because then that's success to me, is being able to do that and not give up my secrecy, I could be sharing a lot more and I don't. I could be making reels of a lot of things I don't. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. Everyone's different and that's a choice.
But you're honoring what your personal limits are.
But for me, like
your
I've talked,
boundaries.
yes, my boundaries are that it's such I don't show my altar anymore because it's like I'm a very secretive person. I don't like to show all of myself, and
it's good not to show your altar.
I just don't. Yeah, I mean, in general, for me, and I know you believe this too, that's not necessarily a good idea for us, in our opinion.
Because people with the evil eye can just set their sights on your most sacred space, and that's no bueno.
And they want what you have, and they want to know where you got it, and they want to know what it is, and it's just like, that's too much for me personally. What about you?
Well, I think that what you mentioned, having that balance between maintaining your own personal spiritual and magical practice that's separate from what you offer to others, is something that I also struggle with. I think it's something that a lot of mystics and magical people struggle with, the balance between what's mine and what's for everyone.
Yeah.
And how much of myself am I willing to give up? How much of myself should I really share? So that's something I think I've gotten better about. I've really released the need to share anything educational on social media. It's not for me personally. I did start to go viral a little bit on TikTok when I was like sharing about Espiritismo, but I was like, this is not fun or enjoyable. This is horrible.
But the reason why you got response. And for some people, that's all they want, is like people going, yes, oh, you're awesome, or oh, you suck. Like, that's a lot.
Like, book a reading. That's what I want. I would rather have 3 people see it and one of them sign up for my newsletter than have 173,000 people see it and like inundate it with comments. Like, I can't, it's not for me. But honestly, I think my biggest struggle as specifically a spiritual practitioner is that I'm trying to figure out the balance between charging what I know my time is worth, considering that I have so many years of experience. I've worked under mentors and elders. This is a tradition I was born into. Considering that I live in Los Angeles and inflation is real and feeding 2 small children is expensive, like taking all of these things into consideration, because spiritual practitioners need to be well-resourced in order to be of service, while also trying to be accessible to the people I am in greatest service to. And most of my clients are BIPOC folks. Most of my clients are queer and trans folks, disabled folks. Like, I have a lot of intersections of marginalization in my community. And so there's always this internal struggle for me of like, I know that this is worth this, but I know that all of these different people are not going to be able to get it. And something that I've been, I think, pretty good about, actually, and I need to stop being so hard on myself, and that's something my spirits remind me of often, is like, I do a lot of free work. And I don't talk about it because I don't desire or need, I don't need accolades, and I also don't need people knocking on my door asking for it who I don't know. But I have certain clients who my spirits are like, we don't charge this person anymore. Or, my readings are $450. I have one client that my spirits are like, she pays $100. And I listen and I do those things for those people, and I go above and beyond my usual scope of service for them, and I do other things like baños and special rituals for them and things like that. And that's kind of how I'm starting to find more balance in serving people who are truly of my community, rather than stressing so much about like, am I charging too much? But it's always there, that internal battle. In the old days, I would just open up my front door and someone would bring me a goat or a chicken or some of what their mom made for dinner, and we would trade services, and that would be that. But nowadays, we have landlords. Right. We have rent, so we have to charge money for our services.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the other thing I struggle with, and I feel like you've talked about this too, is like, what if I'm so in love with something I'm making, whether it's a class or a special type of offering, and I release it into the world and it fucking flops.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you just kind of have to push. I don't know. I remind myself often that like some of my classes I hosted that I loved the most had 1 or 2 people at them at first.
Right.
And you just have to keep, especially if you know it's real and you know it's right, you just have to keep pushing it, and eventually they will find you.
Yeah, there's stuff that I put out, like my Less Love and Light bumper sticker, available on ladymoon.co and on our Etsy, Lady Moon Company, that nobody buys.
I can't believe nobody bought that.
I also made a keychain that just started getting popular 2 years after I made it. It says, "Mind your own magic." And it's like a little hotel keychain.
That's so cute.
Yeah, nobody liked that.
That's so weird.
The love and light shit, nobody likes. People get mad about that. So yeah, I'm like, I thought that bumper sticker would pop off.
Me too. I'm so surprised.
No,
That's funny.
It's the practical magic one.
Yeah.
But that's you seeing like, okay, I feel this way. I'm going to express it and give people the option to put it on their cars to share with others. And some people might not. The thing about me and why I think I've been successful for so long is that I make shit for myself. Like, I straight up amuse Laura. Like, I don't really fucking care a lot of the time. Like, there's a lot of creators who they're like, tell me what you think about this and this. And I'm not necessarily, I will ask for opinions when I want them. But I'll usually ask you or like my close friends. But, and I do love audience participation sometimes if I really can't make a decision. But like for the most part, I just make things I want and hope that everyone else likes it too. Because I think when you're creative and you're a business person and you want to start a business, you need to remind yourself that you're also a consumer. So the things that you want to see in the world that don't exist, chances are there's other people that want to see those things too. So fucking make them. Even if they're niche and weird, like witch stuff was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like it ain't that way anymore. Yeah, there was not very many people doing this when I started doing this. And I've seen it just take off. And there's a duality to that I struggle with too, I think, is the popularity of witchcraft and spirituality. And
yeah,
it's a really good thing for my wallet. And I think it's good. In general, it's more good than bad. But there are casualties to that, you know?
We're looking at you, Juggy.
Fuck you, Juggy.
Fuck you, Juggy.
Stole my shit. No, there are, but like not even that. Just like people. Yeah, no, that's true. Like people. I hate to say appropriating, but appropriating witchcraft in a way, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right.
I hate to be like I'm being appropriated, but yeah, you know, people do that,
yeah.
And I think hopefully now, like people have asked me like, what businesses are like authentically witch owned, and I'm like, I don't know. You have to just ask. Like it's you know, it's popular, so people are gonna make like all kinds of shit. Some of it's cool, but you know, a lot of it doesn't have a lot of heart behind it or spirit behind it, and that's fine. That's why I'm loud about being a witch-owned brand, because I actually am a witch. Like I actually live this life.
Yes.
And have since I was little. So it matters to me. I know some people don't really care, and that's fine. But.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people do. And that's what really what helped you rise up is that people really do care.
Well, I actually do. Yeah. I think people know that. They know me and they know that I'm real about it. And I think that if you're real about yourself, like if you're real. If you're what you get is what you see. Like if you're faking it and you're not a witch and you're putting out witch shit, I don't think that's like a smart move spiritually,
Like long term, no.
long term, I don't think that's sustainable. I don't think it's smart. Like, you don't want to piss off witches. Like,
I know, right?
you don't want to do that. I don't think it's good for you. I don't think it's good for you.
Well, and I think,
you know,
don't
be fake.
Don't be fake. Because it kind of goes back to that card we pulled at the beginning of the show. Like, your authenticity and your intuition are what lead you to sustainable success.
Exactly.
And like, I'm personally trying to set myself up to be okay until after I'm gone.
Yeah.
I would like to leave a bit of a legacy, if you will.
Yes. Love it.
And that can only happen, at least in a positive way or an impactful way, if I'm true to myself and I'm true to my spirits and true to my practice. So yeah, I agree with you on all that.
Yeah. I really, from experience, I truly believe if you do the things that you love, getting emotional. I've just always loved witchcraft from not a money standpoint, not a business standpoint. And let's talk about how we got into these things, right? The transition from, I was an actor, I was a performer. I'm a performing artist by trade, by training and trade. Okay. So that's what I wanted to do. And then, I moved to LA. I did it for a minute. It was awful. Not awful in that I didn't get work, but just awful in that it's a very, very, very hard life to be an actor in film and commercial and television. It's hard.
Yeah.
And it's still hard if you're doing theater, which is the training I came from for the most part, but it's not something that pays a lot and you have to travel and tour, and I didn't want to do that. So, you don't get paid very much. So doing commercials, auditioning is like the worst thing I've ever done in my life. It's awful, soul sucking. And I never want to do it again. So really it was that process where I was just like, I'm not fucking doing it. It wasn't fulfilling me. As much as I love performing, it was not fulfilling for me. So I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with my life?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
That's a good question.
I've been practicing witchcraft this whole time. And then I don't know what, I think I just was like, I should do something with witchcraft, or like, I should make things for witches. And I tapped into that love that I had for it. And then I started Lady Moon Co. And I made some pins, and I made a pin of the 4 elements of.
I have that pin.
Yes. And Caitlin, and this is like why we're here right now. This is the origin story, because I fucking made Lady Moon Co. At the same time, Caitlin's like doing readings and starting to do those things, and we're both just like little babies. And then like we meet up at this market. One of the first market I ever did, I met Caitlin.
It was my first time reading at a market,
The first fucking time I ever had, it looked very different than it does now. I had like one pin and a beanie, and like just, and I met Caitlin. So point being, and then things snowball, and because I was true to like witchcraft and stuck to it and had a mission, and I wanted to talk about it and be open about it and like get it to be hopefully someday more accepted and people know more about it and have it be a life that like can be embraced. That's sort of what I think my life's work is about, and helping other witches, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. That's the reason why I'm even doing this podcast. Like that's the whole reason why I'm here, is because I embraced that. And it's something I truly love and I don't get tired of, So it's wild. And I think that I've had my ups and downs with like fellow business owners and people that were shady and the wrong groups of people. You try to fit in and you try to like, don't do that. Don't do that. That happens sometimes, and those people will flush themselves down the toilet of your life and remove themselves.
Spirits will kick them out.
Your spirits will kick them out, and then the people that matter will stick around and stick out, and like you will find. I have such good friends now. It's incredible. And it's just like, because I've stayed this course, I truly believe that is why. That's just life, people come and go and yada yada bing bong. But
chang chang changity chang shabab.
Boop,
We'll
boop,
always
would
be together. Whoa, yeah.
yeah,
Life is a musical.
life is. Don't get me started.
So I was born into this spiritual practice, and it was something we were always told to keep a secret. Do not
Shocker.
tell anyone ever.
Not bad advice.
And it wasn't bad advice, because when it did finally come out when I was in like 8th or 9th grade, it was like a whole thing. But anyway, I've just always been surrounded by Espiritismo, Caribbean spirituality, folk Catholicism, magic. My dad was really into fantasy novels and fantasy shows and film. And so just like magic and mysticism has always been a part of our lives. Cards have always been a part of my life because my Nana was a gambler. Well, a bookie. And taught me how to play blackjack when I was 4. So all of these things, like tarot, these types of things were very normal in our household, and altars, very normal in our household. And when I was 17 or 18, I went to the Bodhi tree on Melrose, RIP. It used to be next to Earth Cafe.
Wow.
The Bodhi tree, and it was one of the coolest used metaphysical bookstores ever. And I bought my own tarot deck, and it was the Smith-Waite deck in the yellow box. And I remember feeling this like, surge of electricity when I got it, and I started using it all of the time for myself, for my friends. It went with me everywhere. And I remember I was working in a shoe store when I was 19 at the Beverly Center. And this guy came in, and he had all this like cool, I don't know, he was this cool like older black gentleman, super dark skin, had this fucking cool hat, smelled like patchouli. And he looked at me and he was like, "You're a Gemini, right?" And I was like, "Oh, sir."
Of course.
He was like, "You're psychic. You've got like a thing.
Wow.
You need to do something with it." And I was like, "Okay." Let me ring up your
Wow.
toms. And then he pointed at Brian, who's my husband now, and he was like, "You two have a thing." And it was when I couldn't stand him, because he was like the new person at work. And I will never forget this.
No
He was
way.
like, "You two have a thing." And we were like, "Ugh." Anyway, we have 2 children now. And I was still doing, witchcraft just for friends, readings for my then boyfriend at the time. And that was the extent of it. And continued working in the apparel industry. And around 16, I started to reconnect again with more than just my cards, but with my spirituality. And I was getting more into the tarot and really deepening my education in it. And I started doing readings in Facebook groups.
Nice.
I was in a bunch of Facebook groups at the time. I moderated a few. I've seen some shit.
What?
In Facebook groups of 40,000 people plus. I've seen some crazy shit on the internet that would make Gen Z be like,
Sounds amazing.
some crazy shit. But I was offering readings to people in Facebook groups. And then I started offering email readings to people for free. I was doing all of this for free. And then I started doing text message readings for $5.
Wow.
And I would do text readings really late at night, after my kids were asleep, or I would do them in the fire escape of the building I was working at downtown, like on my lunch break, pretending I was taking smoke breaks because I was off the cigs at that time.
Pro tip. Use those smoke breaks.
Exactly.
Pretend you smoke.
If everyone else is going to have a smoke break, I'm going to take one too. And that's kind of just how it started getting bigger and bigger. And honestly, like my first few clients for those paid readings were friends or friends of friends. So you know who you are, Pooja. Like, thank you for being a day one.
Yes.
And from there, I saw the advertisement for Wild Riot at the El Cid. And my husband was like, you should do this. And I was like, read for strangers in person? Like, no.
Wow.
I'm not doing that. And he's like, no, I really think you should try this. And he encouraged me to do it. So I like set up my little table at the El Cid. And my first client, Anissa, is still my client today.
Wow.
And I absolutely adore her. She's amazing. And we had a reading about love. And this potential partner came up in the reading and they live together in Portland now. So
Wow.
XOXO.
I just remembered I got a
You
tattoo.
and your King of Wands. But I remember looking across the way and seeing you on the other side because it was mostly like vintage and like tchotchkes and shit and shitty tattoos.
I got one.
I never got one. I didn't trust it.
I got one. I forgot which one it is.
But I remember walking over to you and I bought a pin and I still have it. I keep it on my nightstand.
It's that one. It's my crystal.
That's cute.
See, it's not that bad.
Okay, an opportunity was missed on my part.
Got some good shitty tattoos over the years.
And you know what's interesting is the place we did that event at is called the El Cid. And if you're from Los Angeles, you know the El Cid. But what I think is really interesting is I did a couple events there. And both times I met you. You were sitting at the place directly across from me. And the next time I did an event, my friend Sarita was in that exact spot.
Really?
And you two are like the people that have stayed with me through my life as my friend group started to fall apart and disappear. Like you two were just these consistent humans that are part of my like inner friend circle now, which is amazing. And the El Cid, according to family lore on my mom's side, is our ancestor. Like that we are somehow descendants of El Cid, which is kind of cool. It just, I don't know, there's something magical about that. Like portal of a space. That space is supposed to be very heavy with spirit activity. And it's just so interesting that
it's really
I met the two of you there. And then after that, I kept doing different pop-up markets and events. Eventually, I made a website and I've slowly started growing. And I was nervous to share anything more than tarot readings. I didn't want people to know about spirituality or spirits. I was like, that's going to be too much. I don't want to share that. And, you know, even my grandfather was like, it's best not talk too much. And then one day I was sitting at my mentor's house, just kind of like crying about life being hard. And she was like, well, that's because you're not doing the job you're supposed to be doing. And I was like, what do you mean? I've been in peril for a decade. And she was like, you're supposed to be a medium. You're supposed to be doing this work. And I hadn't even considered that it was an option to like do this work all in, not have a day job. To talk about spirituality beyond just tarot cards, and receiving that affirmation and really that permission is what I felt like I needed, because we were told for so long to keep it a secret, was what changed everything for me. Like I knew I could give great and eerily accurate psychic readings, but to have that permission to open up about the spirits and my history was really something transformational. And that's when my business really just took off. That's when things blew up in a big way, in a wonderful way. And eventually I got to stop working. I got fired 3 times in a row.
I've also been fired.
But it was
for
fun.
doing witchcraft.
I'm not gonna lie. I was doing the bare minimum.
I was also doing the bare minimum.
At best,
At
I was
best.
doing the bare minimum.
I wasn't dusting every time.
I was asking to be rejected.
Yeah.
I didn't want to fucking be there. I would like do tarot reading. My boss worked remotely, so I would be like on Facebook Live giving people readings at my work computer.
I planned an entire ceremony working at my production company job. I was
did?
the front desk and there was no one behind me.
Yeah. I don't see why not.
Fuck that place.
I was a traveling apparel wholesales person. And on the plane, I would give readings to the other reps.
Amazing.
And some people on the plane would get like spooked, but other people on the plane would be like, can I go next? And then like when we would do the shows, the trade shows, the buyers would be like, will you read my cards after I
sweet.
put in this order?
Nice.
So I would give people readings, and
Yeah.
it's just, when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, it just kind of happens, and it feels like a miracle sometimes, but
It really does.
maybe it is, and that's okay with me.
Yeah, and it's like the journey's
I believe
not
in miracles.
you sexy thing. The journey's not over either.
No.
Like, for me, like I feel like there's more to come. Mm-hmm. And that's cool too. Just
Yes.
knowing like, because I get bored real quick. And so, you know, not that I'm bored, but I do get bored sometimes.
Me too.
And
Gemini
I gotta
things.
like, yeah, like I gotta make something else, or like I gotta, you know, and so, yeah.
Well, even like if I think about where you started with like the elements pin and a beanie, like you've done
A lot.
so much different shit since then. Like apparel, you've done fucking
Which
the
I'm
croc
over.
charm savant
Okay.
over here.
That I have to give credit to my assistant and friend Feather for that. Feather was like, we should make
Thank you,
croc charms.
Feather.
So all credit goes
We were all
to
blessed
Feather.
by that.
I was blessed with Feather.
But like tarot decks, now oracle decks, like you do so much and you've grown so much,
Yeah.
and like prints, bumper stickers, like
Fun things.
fun shit. Yes.
Jewelry. Pins, still pins. But I will say the backbone of my business is still pins, and it's shoe charms, everybody.
Yeah.
Those Crocs. We make the best.
They really are the best.
We make the
though.
best ones. I'm sorry, we do.
They're the easiest to put in my Crocs, and they're the only ones that stay and don't break.
Really? Mm-hmm.
And I've purchased ones from the actual Croc store,
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
and they did not last. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, no, we make the best witchy croc charms there are. And I can say that with confidence because there's not a whole lot of people that make witchy croc charms.
So with this, I am
so with
certain.
this information, I am certain
I am number
it's
one.
me. The best.
Well, and for me, things changed a lot too. Like I started with just tarot readings, and then eventually it evolved into mediumship sessions, and it evolved into teaching classes and hosting workshops, and now I have mentees, and it's just wild. Like I was checking the other day, and I've read for like thousands of people at this point.
Wow.
Thousands.
I believe it.
And like hundreds and hundreds of students, and I've had over 30 mentees at this point. And I know that this isn't even like, hot damn, this is the beginning.
Yeah. That's really incredible what you've done. It really is. And it's also really, I love that it was a mentor that you had that encouraged you, because I'm so like, don't trust anyone. You know me, if you've listened to this podcast for long enough. But I think it is really important to like seek that out and to have support from somebody. And it is my husband, Mike over there. He's been the one that's like, you should do this. You can like, he's turned me into a business person and an entrepreneur, because I wasn't always. And it's like working for yourself is everything.
It's everything.
It is everything, especially in this day and age. You can do it. You absolutely, whether it's witchcraft or not, you absolutely have all the fucking tools in your favor right now to make your own business and or a side hustle that could grow into something you could step
Who
into
knows?
full time.
Yeah.
Like truly, this day and age, like Like Gen Z is probably like, what is working? Like I just post things and then I get money. You know what I mean? Like it
Sounds
just so
incredible.
being an influencer, it's legit a job.
It is.
And you know, it's nothing to be gawked at, like gawked at or scoffed at.
Scoffed
There we go,
at,
scoffed.
yeah.
It was something that rhymed
I shall
with that.
gawk in admiration.
I shall gawk and scoff. It's nothing to scoff at or roll your eyes at. It's really not.
Yeah.
It's really not. And yeah, I mean, I think it is important to have like somebody, whether it's your partner or a mentor or whatever, that's like encouraging you.
Yes.
Ideally, your partner does this.
Yeah.
Not everyone has partners that do that.
Yeah.
But, you know, whether it's a friend or somebody, like, even if you're lucky enough to have a friend that does that, that shit's rare. Rare. Yeah, I think having some sort of support helps.
Absolutely. Because there are times when it's like fucking hard.
Some people just fucking do it themselves. They have this like, I'm not someone who's overly ambitious.
Me either.
So I need a little push. Like I'm not like, I believe in everything I do. Like I'm not like that kind of person.
I do know I am
do,
awesome
yes.
and I create great things, but I also know that I love naps just as much.
Yes. I love not working that hard sometimes. And some people are just, but like it's impressive to me because some people don't need anyone else to tell them what they're going to be doing. And they just have this drive, and it's like rare, but like those people are amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of them.
Me either.
I need a little. Well, now I'm like, okay, now you get the ball rolling, then you kind of get more of that. You get more of like, oh, I'm confident. Like I know people are going to like this and this and like, but I'm perpetually afraid no one's going to come to my birthday party. Like little Laura inside.
I just don't have birthday parties for that reason.
If I do, I rarely do. And if I do, I can't. I can't even read the Christian angry comments on TikTok. I can't.
I
can't do
deleted
it.
some the other day because they were really mean.
I saw some of them. And I was like, oh my God, I can't. I was like, Mike, I can't even read these anymore because I just can't.
Here's the thing.
Because I'm just so sensitive on the inside.
I can handle the angry Christians. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the mean dudes
Oh.
that really grind my fucking gears. I get so fucking hot, and then I want to cry, and then I want to rage.
Yeah.
And I was like typing delete, type, delete. I'm like trying to figure out what my response is going to be. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to delete this motherfucker's comment.
Yeah, and we can do that.
Because they're mean.
They are mean.
It's like incel vibes. It's like deep, dark Reddit. And like Reddit's fucking cool. Don't get me wrong. But there's some parts that are like, but like that's the energy that I was getting from these like it's not my fault. Nobody, like, maybe there's a reason women don't like you.
Yeah.
Because you're not nice, and you don't need to insult us just because you like hate women. Just don't look at us. Like, don't look at femmes if you don't like us.
Or just don't comment at all.
You don't have to comment. Like, what does it do for them?
I don't know.
I don't know.
They're just bored and
I don't
sad.
know. But
Truly,
we don't like you.
If you're commenting, if you're commenting at all on people's shit you don't know, you're a fucking loser. I'm sorry.
And like thanks for boosting the algorithm in our favor, motherfucker.
No, really, like you're sad. And you need to reevaluate your priorities.
Literally.
Because we're putting stuff out there for our audience. You're clearly not our audience. But it's funny. Mike's like the best at dealing with that shit. He's like, hey, I don't give a fuck. Like, he doesn't give a fuck about people talking shit about his remixes. Nothing gets past this dude. And I'm like, wow, okay. But I can't read him.
What's Mike's sun sign?
Pisces.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
Yeah.
But Pisces, Taurus moon, Leo rising. Maybe it's the Taurus and the Leo.
I don't know. I'm sensitive.
I'm a Cancer Venus. That's where I get soft. But other than that, I'm not soft.
My Venus is in Gemini and my Mars is in Cancer. Which is why I'm like fucking crazy, but then I cry afterwards.
Yeah. My Mars is Capricorn, so I'm also fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then I guess I cry after too. Astrology's fun.
Astrology is fun.
Comment, look at these stupid bitches talking about
They're
their
so fucking
astrology.
annoying. I can't even. Whatever. The point is,
Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point being,
we're still cool and you're not.
we're still gonna talk about
And
it.
we're still gonna keep being here on the internet, bugging the shit out of you.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry.
Clearly,
Also,
we
like, how
touched a
did you-
nerve.
No, it's a part of the
This
game.
is part of the business,
This
though.
is 100% a part of the business. 100.
It is.
Let me give you some advice, you being the audience. If you have consistent, like, people trolling you or harassing you, really, you can block them on Instagram. And you can filter out words on Instagram. So you can hate, no one can comment these words if you put them in this, like, thing. So please check out the security preferences. They're actually pretty good. Yeah. So that helps protect your, because it's insane. The internet's insane.
My Instagram for business, and I set our Instagram too for the podcast, to only people who follow us can comment.
That too.
Love
that.
that.
That should be the default for
Adore
everybody.
it. Because if you like us and you want to comment, you'll be like, oh, I'm going to follow them. And if you hate us and you want to comment, you'll just move on.
Yes, that's 100% an amazing
Unlike
idea.
the YouTube where it's just the Wild West. But honestly, whatever.
Fine.
Keep boosting our real views, our
It
shorts
doesn't matter.
views.
It does not matter. We're growing. We've grown a lot this past month, so
We
thank
really
you
have.
to
Thank
all
you.
these listeners. We hope to keep growing. But yeah, it's hard. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
Some things will never change.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I think that if you're interested in starting your own mystical or magical or spiritual business, the best advice that I can give someone is to spend time playing with pleasure and passion. What brings you pleasure? What is it that you are passionate about? How can you spend time playfully exploring those things? Because that's where not only your inspiration lies, but it's also where your true gifts and talents often lie. And if you're not sure what direction to go, you will find a path forward by spending time in those spaces.
Yeah. Just choose something that is sustainable for you. Or if you're a Gemini, choose a brand in which you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like I did.
Choose everything.
Choose everything. No, literally. And yeah, I agree. Just picking something you really are passionate about. Like if that's making brooms, you better make those brooms and know that you're going to be making those brooms a lot. Yeah, and just think about in the long term of your business plan. I hate business plans. I never fucking made one, but like they're kind of important. Think about like where it could go, because what I see with a lot of small like handmade makers, like that make like dolls or something. It's a lot of work for not a lot of pay, unless you're charging like $300-$400 a pop for your dolls, which is a lot. So if you think about it, if they do an update every 2 weeks, constantly making something, maybe they make 8 dolls for $60 a pop. Like that's not a lot of money. So if that's your goal, if you have money and you're like, I just want a hobby, maybe it's something more like that. But if you want to like expand your brand and like sustain having things in stock so you constantly be selling, things like that, there are technical things, business things that are important to think about too, especially if you're going to put your time and energy into something, right? Or if you're not sure, make one thing and then set it up so you can make other things. And you know, it just depends on what you want to do, but keep your goals in mind too, I would say, when you're
Yeah. What are you trying to do?
What are you trying to do, and what is it for? And like, what would you like it to be? And
Who is it for?
who is it for? Yeah. So, and don't be discouraged by how many witchcraft businesses there are. There are a fuck ton.
Yeah.
But don't be discouraged by that, because if you're truly passionate about witchcraft and that's what you love and that's what you truly love, that will come through in whatever you're
Yes.
making, and people will notice that, because there's a lot of businesses that are just you can tell like they're just like doing it because it's popular. But if you really love it, don't even look at what anyone else is doing. Like, don't. You can, but don't.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
you'll be very discouraged. Just be like, oh, someone's already doing that. I mean, of course, let's not copy people and all that. That's a whole nother fucking topic. But
if you show up as your authentic self,
yeah,
like
there's room for everybody. Honestly, people get very bogged down with each other. Like, she made a red panda and I'm the red panda. It's like, let's just all, can we all just get out of this little bubble and see the bigger picture, that we're all witches and we're all making things, and the internet is just oversaturated as fuck, and there's room for everybody. I hate infighting on the internet.
Yeah.
It drives me insane.
Well, when you show up as you, like everything is that you make or any service you provide is going to be uniquely
Yes.
yours.
Yeah.
And so there really isn't competition.
No.
It's just camaraderie. And that's when things really start to get fun, when you start to feel that way. Like, I'm in community with so many other spiritual practitioners and readers, and I don't feel like any of us are in competition. Like, we share each other's offerings with our audiences. We recommend one another to our clients. Like, it's really fucking nice.
That's really beautiful.
It's really nice.
Not that way with well, it is sometimes.
It's different for makers.
It's different for like, it's different with I guess product-based businesses. Yeah, I stopped doing the whole like, let's all be friends game. But everyone's different. But you befriend people. Now I know what to look for when I'm befriending people. And I think it is really important to distinguish your friends from your business friends. For me, I think it's essential that you do that, because you will act in accordance to that boundary with your business friends than you would your Caitlin's, or like things like that. And sometimes those friends, like Caitlin, they go, oh, I better come over here now and be a friend. So they move into the categories, but be very careful, because people do not have your best interests. A lot of them don't. People suck and will take advantage of you and be shitty. So you have to watch out for that, especially if you're in the biz world.
Ruthless.
People are fucking just trying to hustle. People are clout chasing assholes, and they will use you in your contacts. So, just beware. They will.
Yeah.
So I keep to myself, but that's how I am.
Yeah.
So.
I've definitely had a few like clients kind of shapeshift on me.
Yeah, it happens to everybody, but we're trying to tell you this so that it doesn't happen to you.
So it doesn't happen to you.
We want to protect you. But yeah, don't be discouraged. Like, think of a really unique business name, I think, is another really good. There's a lot of just the same shit, and get it trademarked. The best thing I ever did was get my name trademarked.
That's smart.
Oh my God.
I should do that.
You can't have Lady Moon Coop. I don't know what it would be. Lady Moon Candy Shop. That will pop up when my lawyer looks for shit and will ask me, is this a threat? And I will say, no, I do not produce candy. They're okay. But make sure your name is like unique, and it's hard to find. We were trying to name a production company, Mike and I, and we were like, everything is taken.
Damn.
Everything is taken. So get creative and like something memorable and simple and that speaks to like what you're doing, I think is.
And I also
helpful.
if you end up changing it down the line, that's okay too. Like if who you are changes as a person, I am the sovereign of name changes.
I wasn't going to say anything, but yes. Yes, you are.
I have gone through many
I don't even have your current email. It's changed.
reincarnations. I have a lot of email addresses.
Gemini. Have a lot of email
Here's
addresses.
the thing. I am a multifaceted being.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
And I have to be true to myself.
That's true.
In every stage of myself.
I love it.
And I already know what my next name change is going to be.
Amazing.
I've got about 15, 20 years before I do that name change, though.
It's time sensitive.
It is.
Okay.
It is. But yeah, like if down the line you realize like, oh fuck, this doesn't really reflect who I am anymore or the direction that I'm going now, like that's okay.
Yeah.
Change it. Or maybe you want to make a separate, like a DBA, a side hustle with a different name and you can do different things under it. But like
Trademark multiple
okay.
things.
You're allowed to change and your business can change with you. And that's fucking cool too.
Yes.
I do not have any Tauras in my chart.
The change freaks me out a little bit. But like what I would be worried about is like because it's a different type of business, I think.
Yeah.
Like I'm so established as this thing that if I changed it, I think that people would be like a little confused. 'Cause
Yeah.
sometimes people get confused.
You are really established
and
now.
I think, not that you're not, but
no,
like just.
I feel like people are used to
You know what I mean?
I
think
feel
that's
like part of people knowing
allure.
me is that I always change.
Yeah.
And so they're
But
like,
it's different.
oh, again.
It's a different type of business. So
Yeah.
but I've seen people change it. It's a big commitment.
It's a big commitment. It's scary. It
gotta
feels like,
change
am I going to lose
everything?
Yeah. Well, and it's like, are my emails going to start bouncing now that
Yeah.
they're coming from a different address?
I'm
like
not
all
willing
that
to
shit's
risk that.
real.
I'm not willing to risk that. I'll be Lady Moonco till I die.
It's mine.
I'm not willing to change that. But I don't feel like I need to. I'd probably just start a whole new business.
I think I'm really happy with where I'm at right now.
It's good.
It feels good. It feels right. It feels like I might stay here for a few years.
Cool. We'll see.
At least a few. We'll see. I did change my Instagram to just my first and last name though, so that I can stop changing my Instagram every time I change my business name.
That's nice.
It's just Caitlin Grania now, and that's easier.
I mean, I think that's the best approach.
Just
keeping it. If you can I got my full fucking name on it, my Laura Amy Wong.
That's fucking cool.
I got my whole ass name.
Yeah.
Not Laura Wong. That was clearly not going to be available.
I am kicking myself to this day because when I first downloaded Instagram in 2010, I had Caitlin Joan. No underscores. No dots, and like a dumbass, I changed it. Because, like in the AIM days, you would change your screen name all the time.
What was your
all the
screen
time?
name?
So many.
What
I think
was your
the
favorite
one I
one?
remember the most is Cuban Chick 615.
Mine was Lola the Great 6, and the rest of my birthday, which I won't say.
615 is my birthday. You can send me gifts.
I'm like, it's the password to my phone, so I don't want to tell you guys. In case you steal my phone, you can get in my shit. I'm grabbing my phone because I want to see if we have any questions from today.
Questions.
Oh, spirit candy. Spirit candy.
Spirit candy.
Channeled messages from our spirit guides. Do you want to share one?
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's not one, it's just the constant message I get from my spirit friends when I think about the business stuff is always just like it's always about just staying true to yourself, doing more with them and with myself, like not sharing is a big one. Not sharing the altars, and we talked about this in my favorite episode we've ever done, The Sacredness of Secrecy.
That's my favorite episode too.
I think it's episode 5 or 6 of the
it's 4.
first step 4 of the first season. If you have not listened to that
It's my
episode, you
favorite.
should, because it's a gem. There's a sacredness to secrecy. And that title, I think I'm going to claim
I think
claim
you
that I
channeled
came
it,
up with. I think I
yeah.
channeled that title. And that just the way that it's alliteration, so I probably did. I like alliteration.
Me too.
We like alliteration. It's about that there is potency to keeping something a secret versus sharing it and having it be like tainted by other people's energy and shit. Essentially, that's what that means. So I just a lot of like, it's tempting to share and overshare because that's what gets followers, likes, attend. Like, how much of yourself, this we asked that in episode 2, how much of yourself, and you said earlier, are we willing to give up? How much time are we willing to give up, like, for this, like, likes and views and things like that? And I know it's tempting to be like, but I need to make money and I need to grow my audience, and like, because that's what I think. But it's not the same. Like, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful monetarily. Like, it doesn't mean, it's just, it's not worth it sometimes. That's a legit question. Like, there's no answer I can say, like, is it worth it to you? Like, those are the messages that I get from my spirits, and just pulling me back to, like, remember when you didn't tell anyone about this? And like, they're stroking me. They're stroking my hair. Remember when that was a thing? How nice that felt? Like, don't give up on that. That's powerful too. That's what the whole reason why, like, you did this was, you know, from. So don't lose that shit or we will get mad. Just kidding. But like, for real.
Yeah.
That's the spirit candy I get constantly about business and the, you know, that sort of thing.
Those quiet,
Money.
private moments are what nourish us. And it's important to protect that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I have a story.
Tell.
Okay, so a few weeks ago, I've been like lucid dreaming a lot lately. And a few weeks ago, I had a dream that I opened up my underwear drawer and my childhood necklace was in there. And it's this gold necklace that has a bunch of charms on it. Some of them were from like different trips with my family. Some of them came on the necklace when it was given to me when I was a baby. And I woke up really sad because I haven't seen that necklace in well over a decade. I like took it off when I was in my partying days because I only wore silver. And it was, never mind that it was an heirloom. I only wore silver. I was sure that I like gave it to someone because I was really into giving my shit away at that time. And I was just kind of like bummed. I was like, okay, whatever. Maybe it means something else. I'm not going to think about it. And I kind of forgot about it. And then on Sunday, the day of the full moon in Leo, my old roommate texted me a photo of my necklace. She was cleaning out her apartment. Not the place we lived in together. Oh, wow. And she was like, isn't this yours? I just found it while I was cleaning my apartment. And I was like, oh my God. And so I went to her house that day and got it. I'm wearing it right now.
Where is it?
It's this one with all these little, see this like Cuba charm?
Oh,
this was my dad's when he was a baby.
That's beautiful.
There's like a Mickey Mouse from Epcot on it. And
I love that.
So I went and picked it up from her, and I was telling my best friend about it. And as I'm telling her what happened, she was like, I just heard a man's voice say, I crossed heaven and earth to get this back to you. And she's like, my dad's been gone since 2018. She was like, I think your dad's here. I think your dad's here.
Wow.
And it was just weird because I've been like smelling his cologne a lot lately. He usually doesn't hang out with me. He's usually at my grandma's house.
You mentioned that before.
But I could not believe it. Could not believe it.
How long after the dream did your friend message you?
A couple weeks.
Wow.
A couple weeks because I kind of let the dream go. It made me sad, and I was like, oh, it's gone, Kate. It's gone. And now it's back. I gave one of the charms to Hunter. Aww. I put it on his necklace, and I have the rest. And I'll probably put one on the next baby's necklace too once they get one. So yeah, that's my spirit candy.
That is so cool. Wow.
Gone for over a decade.
Wow.
And found in a random apartment, not the place we lived together.
Do you remember giving it to your roommate?
No. I mean, we lived in the same room, so it very easily could have gotten like packed up
Maybe.
with some of her stuff, and that it was just like sitting, waiting to be shaken out, you know, or
found it. Wow. That's really, really special. Special.
Magic is real.
Magic is real.
Oh, you know what? I am going to plug something because I think by the time this airs, I will be hosting it. And it's relevant to today's topic. But I'm hosting a workshop in March called Altars and Offerings. And it's about spiritual practitioners having reciprocal relationships with their altars and their spirits, and how that relates to accepting money for your spiritual services.
Perfect.
So you can check that out at motherofmystics.com.
That sounds very relevant. I love that. Love that. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for
Thank all
listening
of
to
you.
Third Eye Bind.
Be sure to leave us a message on the Third Eye line. We'll talk to you soon. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. You can follow the podcast at Third Eye Bind Pod on Instagram. There, submit your questions via the Third Eye line by sending us a voice message or text DM. The show is available wherever you listen to podcasts and for you to watch on YouTube. Get early access to episodes and even monthly one-on-one sessions with us by joining our Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/thirdeyebind. Third Eye Bind is produced and edited by Mike Realm. Hosted by Caitlin Grania and Laura Wong. Music by Mike Realm. Set design by Laura Wong. You can find Laura on Instagram at Lady Moon Co. And you can find Caitlin at caitlin.grania.